G'day and welcome back. This is the Wharf Talk post-match edition. I'm JB and mate, we won. We're 16-2. The minor premiership is coming into view. Let's talk about how we got there, because it was not pretty for 40 minutes and then it absolutely was. Port Adelaide versus Fremantle, Adelaide Oval, round 19. Final score, 15 goals 13, 103 to 11 goals 975. A 28-point win. On paper, that sounds comfortable. The first half was not. Port came flying. Mitch Zado goaled straight from the opening bounce. And the power didn't slow down. Dante Vicentini finished cleverly out of the air. Joe Berry curled one home from the boundary and Fremantle was scrambling. By half-time, Port led by 12. 8 goals to 6. A Port side, I should mention, missing Butters, Horn Francis, Rosie and Georgiades, their best midfielders, all out. Kane Farrell was withdrawn sore on Friday and his replacement, Harrison Ram, was then ruled out ill an hour before the bounce. Jacob Ware came in off the street, essentially, and Port still led at half-time against the ladder leaders. That is worth sitting with for a moment, and we will come back to it. The moment that kept the game alive, Hayden Young, he was the only inclusion this week, returning from that groin issue in place of the rested Shea Bolton, and he goaled right on the quarter-time siren. That one kick kept the margin to 2 points at quarter-time, rather than letting Port blow out to 6 or 8. Without that, the second quarter mountain gets steeper. Young finished with 15 disposals and that crucial goal, and his return mattered even more once Jaeger O'Meara went down, but we'll get there. So, half-time, 12 points down. Last week, we didn't kick a goal before half-time against Sydney, then kicked 12 of the final 14. This week, same story, different venue. Here's the number that tells it. We were 12 down at the main break. We won by 28. That means we won the second half by 40 points, 61 to 21. 9 goals, 7 to 3 goals, 3, a 40-point turnaround in 2 quarters of footy, 2 straight weeks, 2 second-half avalanches, the most dangerous team in the competition in the back half of games. Also, 2 straight weeks of giving good teams a head start. That tension is real and it matters before September. The third quarter was extraordinary. 6 goals, 2 to Port's 1 goal, 1. Luke Jackson kicked the first goal of the half after Fremantle generated 3 of the first 4 entries, and then Isaiah Dudley happened. He intercepted a poor Port exit, found Josh Treacy. Treacy levelled the scores, and then Fremantle kicked 5 consecutive goals in approximately 5 minutes. Treacy, GMS, Michael Frederick. The game was gone. Port never recovered. Here's what actually changed. Without drowning you in numbers, clearances finished dead level, so this was not a midfield monstering. The difference was what happened after the ball came out. Fremantle hunted the next possession, went inside 50 more often and made those entries count. Port needed a lot more looks to score than we did, and the goals weren't solo efforts. 13 goal assists to Port's 5. Blokes lowered their eyes and found a better option. Treacy summed it up. Ball in hand, tough angle, and instead of forcing the shot, he centred it to Frederick alone in the goal square. That unselfishness is what makes a forward line dangerous in September. Now let's talk about the people who actually won us the game. Jai Amiss, 4 goals, 2 behinds, 12 disposals, 4 marks, a goal assist. His 4th goal came from overpowering Darcy Barn-Jones in a deep one-on-one and kicking truly. That took him to 43 goals for the season, a career high. His previous best was 41. He is 22 years old, and he and Treacy have both been sitting in the Coleman medal conversation. If anyone still wants to have the argument about Justin Longmuir playing 3 tall forwards, Amiss is now the answer. 43 goals. Case closed. Josh Treacy, 3 goals, 1 behind, 14 disposals, averaged 2.33 goals per game coming in, kicked the equaliser, added another, then had the presence of mind to give it to Frederick rather than force a shot. That football IQ is something you cannot coach into someone quickly. Michael Frederick, 3 goals from 13 disposals. His speed pulled Port's defence in 3 directions at once Fremantle started moving the ball quickly. Dudley, 1 goal and 3 behinds, but 18 disposals, 3 goal assists, 4 tackles, 4 inside 50s. His interception of Alir's exit kick was the single most important play of the match. At that point, Fremantle had kicked 6 goals, 6 from turnovers to Port's 3-3. That interception turned rising pressure into a scoreboard avalanche. Andrew Brayshaw, 30 disposals, 5 tackles, 4 inside 50s, 2 goal assists. Caleb Sarong, 28 disposals, 9 tackles, 8 clearances, the highest for either team. These two were relentless. Brennan Cox played his 150th AFL game. His best mate Luke Ryan spoke about their friendship publicly during the week. The two of them helped hold a back six that gave up 8 first half goals to 3 second half. That defensive correction was as important as anything the midfield did. And speaking of big men, we have to talk about Mason Cox. The stat sheet won't do him justice this week. His aerial work was genuinely good. He took strong marks. He cut off entries as an intercepting option behind the ball, and he gave Jackson real chop-out minutes. And then he stood 10 metres out directly in front, the kind of shot you'd back your nan to kick, and he missed it. His parents were in the crowd and even they were laughing. Everyone was laughing. Mason was probably laughing. The big Texan is doing everything right at the moment except the bit directly in front of the big sticks, and honestly, we love him for it. That miss aside, Cox's form matters because the ruck pitcher rolls into Derby week. Jordan Sweet won the hit-out count 31-20. Jackson kicked a goal and was important at the coalface, but the individual hit-out battle went to Port. Cox has now backed up his breakout game against Sydney with another useful outing, and that's a selection conversation for Friday. Now the injury, Jaeger O'Meara left the ground midway through the third quarter with an ankle injury after it appeared to become caught under him in a Jackson Mead tackle. He didn't return. 15 disposals, 3 tackles, 1 behind, and then done. This is an especially rough one because O'Meara spent weeks recovering from multiple facial fractures after a training accident in April, fought his way back, earned a state game, and this was only his 6th AFL appearance for the year. He was building exactly the form that would have made him a finals asset. The severity hadn't been confirmed post-match. The names being floated as potential replacements are Corey Wagner and Chris Sherry if O'Meara can't go. Because yes, it's Derby week, West Coast at Optus Stadium. Friday night, West Coast play Brisbane tonight at Optus, so we get a live look. Freo have now won 16 from 18. The minor premiership is ours to lose. The slow starts are a problem that needs solving before finals, and the Derby is exactly the right game to prove we can do it from the first bounce rather than the third quarter. The forward line with Amos on 43, Treacy averaging 2.33 goals a game, Frederick creating havoc, Dudley generating 3 assists a week, and Voss bringing the physical intensity, the mongrel, the 7 tackles that set the tone for everyone else. That combination is as good as anything in the competition. The defence, when the midfield gives it protection, is as good as anything in the competition. We are 16-2. The second minor premiership in club history is within reach. The second half football we played today was genuinely elite. The concern is what we're doing in the first half to get ourselves into those positions. Let's fix that Friday night. Come on, you Dockers.